What's going on, everyone? So, I've been talking a lot about Stu and Matthew Lillard, right? Especially for a guy that isn't really a fan of him returning. Big fan of him, Matthew Lillard, first off. He seems like an incredible human being. I don't know him personally, but from everything that I have seen, seems like an incredible human being. Love him as an actor. Love Stu Macher, right? For what he was, right? Time to move past it, in my opinion, right? I know, trust me, a lot of people feel otherwise. A lot of people really truly believe that Stu is going to return, not in just like an AI capacity or anything like that, but in an actual capacity as the killer. We'll see. Time will tell. It's one of those things, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, every Scream movie since the first, we've been hearing that like, oh, he's back, he's back, he's back. He's been in other movies, right? But nonetheless, he is in the upcoming Scream 7 as Stu Macher. We know that. We just, again, don't know the capacity, right? A lot of rumors about AI. Maybe it's a flashback, right? We'll see how it progresses. But big reason why I keep talking about Matthew Lillard and Stu Macher is because we keep getting news and information about Matthew Lillard and Stu Macher. Because, he does a lot of conventions and does all this stuff. So he's asked regularly about all these different things. And, again, it's exciting. He's excited, the fandom's excited, right? Like, again, even me as somebody that doesn't want him to return in the capacity of a killer and him being alive, I still would love to see him in the movie, right? I'm not against him being in the movie. I just don't want him back as Ghostface running around killing people again, right? Like, I just think that moment's come and went, move in a new direction. But Matthew Lillard recently talked about his return as Stu Macher, and talked about something interesting that I've even expressed and have said, like, hey, be careful what you wish for type thing. I have concerns about this as well. But let's read what he said. So, Matthew Lillard on returning as Stu in Scream 7. I am very excited and slightly terrified to be back because all I can do is really screw up a legacy that we have. Now, you can interpret that several ways. You can interpret that as like the Scream legacy, right? And potentially messing it up one way or another if he does return, right? Because no matter what, we can all agree that somebody's going to be upset, right? You're either going to have the Stu Macher fans that Stu isn't alive in this universe anymore and they confirm he's dead and he's not in this film. And then those fans are going to be upset and furious, or you're going to have people that, he is back and he is in that capacity and they're upset, right? And look, I'm not going to be upset either way. I just don't think it's going to go the way people think. The other way you can interpret the legacy element of it is Stu Macher. And it's something that I've talked about very heavily. We've seen franchises in the past bring back a beloved character that people loved. And more often than not, doesn't go the way that they want, right? You're talking 30 years. Are you the same person you were at 47 that you are at 17? Probably not, right? Like even your humor, all that stuff. And given that, he's either been in prison this entire time or he's been a recluse or whatever the explanation is, chances are Stu Macher is not going to be exactly how you remember it. Now, look, could be maybe people love it. Maybe it's great. Maybe the direction in which they go with this character is something, again, going on the assumption that he's back, maybe it's something that, everybody's like, wow, hey, that's a great direction. There's also the possibility that he comes back and it ruins it for people. People are like, this isn't the Stu Macher that I love. Again, be careful what you wish for. Now, a lot of people want Stu Macher back, but they're not taking into account that it's probably not going to be the same Stu Macher. Maybe it will, but that you can make an argument that that's even worse, right? Because it's like, again, he's not going to be who he was at 17, no matter what happened to him, unless he, just froze in time and, and he's back at 17. It's just, that's a concern that I have, and, look, I get regardless. Look, I'm excited to see Matthew Lillard. I'm excited to see Stu return to this franchise, return to this film. But something that I've tried to get across is like, don't get your hopes up, right? Like, again, and, people go, oh, you just don't want Stu back or, you're just Stu hater or whatever. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's just, again, like, nobody, I don't know. I don't know if Stu's actually back in a real capacity or if he's back in some creative way, AI, flashback, whatever. I don't know, right? I've said that if they were ever going to bring him back, this is probably the best time to do it, given that, the circumstances with Melissa Barrera's departure, and now you got, Sydney back in the forefront, right? You kind of want this film to have as much success as possible. It's kind of have this like in-game level setup, with Stu Macher or whatever. I could see something like that happening, right? But, the thing is that if you go into a film with an expectation, you run the risk of you being very disappointed, right? And potentially ruining your experience, because there's a lot of people that are like diehard about this. And it's great. Again, I love it. I love the passion. I love the excitement. Again, just because I don't agree doesn't mean that I don't love to see the passion that people have for it and what people want to see, right? Like, both can be true. And yet, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are going to show up to that theater expecting Stu Macher to be alive in the film, and he is not. Again, I don't know. I'm just saying, and he's not. And they're all immediately going to hate that movie. They're all immediately going to have a terrible taste in their mouth, and they're not going to give the actual film itself a fair shake, an opportunity, because they're already looking at this as like, this wasn't what I wanted. This isn't what I expected, right? And now you have a bunch of disappointed fan base, right? Which is one of the reasons why I don't like the idea of them dragging this out. It's one of the reasons why I want them to just give us a definitive answer one way or another, right? You're going to have some people that no matter what, like, they could come out and say, like, the coroner that, cremated Stu could come out and be like, they'll be like, he switched the body, right? Like, we didn't see him actually cremated, so it couldn't be. Like, you're going to have the people that no matter what they do, they're going to try to argue and justify that Stu's still alive. That's fine. But, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that, again, one way or another, are going to be disappointed. And I think Matthew Lillard's right. You run the risk of messing up a legacy, messing up the Scream legacy, messing up Stu Macher's legacy, because you're going to have a lot of people that are upset. And and that's my concern, right? I don't want to have a bunch of Scream fans that are all, like, this movie sucks. And it's like, no, it was actually really good. You just didn't get Stu Macher, so you're upset, right? And I've had people be like, well, would you hate, or you're going to hate the movie of Stu Macher? No, it depends on how the movie goes, right? I'm going to go into it fair, right? Like, I'm going to go into it, like, if Stu just magically appears and that's it, and they don't have any explanation to that, then yeah, I'm probably going to hate the movie. But if they have some half-decent explanation, and it's, again, good story, good writing, good execution, good character development, good acting, solve a lot. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you have concerns? Do you agree with Matthew Lillard? Do you agree with my points? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.